everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Vault. I hope you enjoyed the last two episodes. There will be more items from those films to come in due time. This is episode 3. Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Vault. That was totally smooth. This is episode 3 entitled King of the Monsters. As you can see, for today we are filming from a different angle, and that's because there are too many items to showcase. My wife says there are too many items in the house. Well, there are many things to look at today. Today we'll be talking about one of my favorite franchise and my favorite monster of all time, Godzilla. Now, my relationship with Godzilla started innocently enough. In a module that I took in NUS called Politics and the Visual, we were tasked with looking at iconography that could relate to politics and political representation. I struggled to find an item or a person or a thing that I could write about and that I could present about until one day, out of nowhere, as I was showering, suddenly a voice from the ethers of the universe came down to me and said, Godzilla. Now, as you should always listen to the voices that you hear in the shower, I began writing this essay. As I began to research into Godzilla, I found that it was not merely just any other monster, but it was a representation of something more. Godzilla as a symbol was a receptacle and incubator of Japanese anxieties faced during the post-war period. It was a discourse on the use of nuclear weapons and a post-war search for national identity while under the American occupation. This was a search for balance and harmony, which were fundamental pillars in Japanese culture. Gojira was a representation that society was no longer in harmony with the natural order of things, and this had to be rectified. So that's just about all I'll say about the film. I'll leave the rest to you to go and pursue it for yourself. Now, in terms of the items that we have taken from the vault today, you can see on the table over here, we have a range of toy collectibles from the franchise. Now, what are toy collectibles? Now, toy collectibles are specifically produced for collecting rather than for play. Now, typically, they are associated with franchises and characters, and they are sought by enthusiasts because of their rarity, their quality, their historical significance, and even their aesthetic appeal. Now, toy collectibles like these are valued by collectors and enthusiasts alike because of personal interest. Like in my case, I really love Godzilla, or it could be because of nostalgia, where toys like these could transport back to an earlier point in their childhood, which is full of innocence and joy. Or, from a more practical point of view, many of these toy collectibles are bought because of their investment potential. Now, in terms of that last point on investment potential, this is how I knew I should have paid more attention in my economics lessons. Sorry, Mr. Naden. So what I had to do was to scour the web to see what are the criteria that toy collectors look out for whenever they try to value and price these toy collectibles. Now, primarily, I came across 5 major ones, and they are relevance, demand, condition, age, as well as rarity. And in terms of the major categories of toys that are out there are transportation toys, moving or mechanical toys, tin toys, building toys, dolls, as well as what we see on the table over here, action figures. Now, toy collectibles have existed for centuries, from dolls from medieval times to model trains in the 18th and the 19th century, probably conditioned by the Industrial Revolution, to action figures with the popularity of comic books from the early 20th century, to the first Barbie doll in 1959, and the action figure that came about sometime in the late 1960s. Now, the term action figure was created by a guy called Don Levine, and he was from Hasbro. And guess what was the action figure? It was a G.I. Joe action figure. And that tells you a lot about the relationship between toy collectibles and contemporary events, because the G.I. Joe action figure was motivated and influenced by the Vietnam War that was going on at that point in time. Now, to further reinforce that point about the relationship between contemporary events and pop culture items and toy collectibles like these, in 1966, Mattel released a range of astronaut figures, and definitely they were influenced and motivated by the space race that was going on at that point in time. And later on in the 1970s, film and television dominated the scene in terms of influencing toy collectibles, especially with the range of superhero movies that came out, as well as the seminal trilogy Star Wars. Now, most of the items that you see on the table today, they are anniversary editions of the collectibles. Most of them are from the 65th anniversary of when the first film was shown in 1954. Now, since then, Godzilla has assumed many different forms and shapes and sizes and appearances, and it has also been joined by adversaries and allies like Mechagodzilla, Mothra, you have King Kong over there, you have Dystatoya over here, and a whole range of other characters as well. So the franchise is now really quite vibrant, and at the end of this year, on December actually, there is a new Godzilla film that is coming out, and I encourage all of you to go and catch it. It's called Godzilla Minus One. Now, if you were to ask me to choose from all of these collectibles, which ones are my favorite, definitely this one over here, where it is the collectible from the first film of Godzilla. But another one that I would also recommend is this anime, a Godzilla anime actually. It is on Netflix. It is called Godzilla Planet of the Monsters. I think is in 3 parts, so you can check it out. Really good plot line and a refreshing take on the age-old character. It was episode 3, King of the Monsters. I will see you on the other side. Shane out.